right, for this project, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a piece of white paper, a pencil if you are afraid you'll make mistakes and you want to be able to erase, crayons, and then also your watercolor paint. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold your paper in half. Also, you're going to need a container of water for your watercolor paint. I forgot to say that. All right, so you're folding your paper in half. Ask a grown-up to help you if you need it, and then you're going to open it back up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a crayon, and you'll notice that there's a fold down the middle of your paper. I want you to just take your crayon and make like a border that goes pretty close to the edge. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. And then go ahead and you can pick a different color to do the same thing on the other side. Oh, you know what? I don't like how light that is, so I'm gonna switch colors because that's what we love about art, is that we can always change our mind. Okay, so we can go ahead and do that on the other side also. All right, and now what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a tree. We're going to make a tree twice. It doesn't have to be exactly the same tree on both sides. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Mrs. Dooley, making a tree, that sounds so hard. Well, I'm going to show you a really easy way to do it. So you're going to start at the bottom, right here. You can pick a different color crayon if you want. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and switch. And you're going to do a curved line like this. Notice how it gets a little bit wider and then it goes out. And then do the same thing on the other side, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna do little v, big V. So little v, big V. Little v, big V. Little v, big V. Little v, big V. Oh my goodness, did you just draw a tree like I did? I hope so. If that was a little tricky and you need to erase, maybe you're using your pencil, like I suggested, then go ahead and then just rewind the video and start again. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I switched crayon colors. I'm gonna do those curved lines at the bottom first. Okay, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. And then remember, little v, big V. Little v, big V. Little v, big V. Little v, big V. Okay, so now you have two trees, different colors you're using for all of them. It's starting to look snazzy already. And now we're gonna do a little bit of fun with the positive and negative space. And we've already talked about lines, so you're gonna actually use different types of line to decorate in the positive space over here, the negative space over here, and the positive space over here. So the negative space is the space behind the tree. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take all different color crayons and you're going to draw different types of lines to only fill up the negative space on this side. Okay, I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to do it to this side too, but I'm going to fill in the positive space. So just follow along with me and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so now I've filled in the negative space with different line designs and patterns, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side, except I'm going to fill in the positive space, which is the tree, with the same types of lines and patterns. So I want you to go ahead and do that too. Okay, so now you can see I have my line pattern designs in the negative space here and the positive space here. Now, if you switched it and you did the lines in the positive space here and negative space here, it's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm gonna put my crayons away, and now it's time to use my watercolor paint. Now, whatever your watercolor paint looks like, okay, this is what mine looks like. Remember, we have to wake up the colors, but we're only using one color. So you're gonna pick one color to use, okay? And you're gonna paint just in the areas where you put the crayon, okay? So for here, I am not painting inside my tree. I'm only painting on top of where my line designs are. And then same here, I'm only painting on top of inside of the tree, okay? So I've decided I'm gonna use a darker color so that you can really see how the crayon acts like a fence and doesn't paint right over top of the crayon lines and such. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, wake up I'm actually going to use black. If you don't have black, you don't have to use it. Now watch. See what happens? So it only paints where the white paper is. Wherever there is, I went over the line a little bit right there, that's okay. Wherever there is crayon, oh, and you know what? I just noticed I missed a spot. See, even Mrs. Dooley makes mistakes sometimes. Let me just put a little design in here really quick. Okay. So the cool thing about doing this is called crayon resist, is that it will not stick to the areas where there's crayon. Okay, the watercolor paint will just paint where the white paper is. So your designs will still show. Now remember, you don't want to go over an area too much because it will make a hole in your paper. I am barely pressing down with my paintbrush. I'm just kind of pulling the color through the paper, through the design. And then once in a while, I tap my brush into the water and into the paint color so that I can get a little bit more on my brush. If you don't have black, which I don't think some of you do, then use another color. Maybe use purple, or maybe use blue, or maybe you want to use green. I think if you use yellow, it won't be as noticeable, the difference between your crayon design and then the white paper. Okay, so maybe don't use yellow, but pick a different one. And you know what? I just noticed that there was another spot I forgot to color in. Oopsie daisy. No biggie. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, except I'm going to go inside of the tree. And can you see how this is really dark black right here? I'm going to dip my brush in it and pull it up and use it on this side over here. If you splash some paint onto your paper, it's not a big deal. I'm going to keep dipping in that because it's really dark and I want to use some of it for over here. It's really fun to feel how your paintbrush glides over the paper and at the same time you can see with your eyes how it's not sticking to that crayon design. It's like magic. And art really is pretty magical. That's why I love it. All right, that's it, boys and girls. Then you are all done. So you're gonna make sure you clean up your paints, dump your water, clean off your paintbrush, and then you need to pick this up like a lunch tray and put it somewhere flat so it can dry. Remember, you don't want to turn it or tilt it up like this because then all the wet parts will drip, okay? So always hold it flat. I can't wait to see how your project turns out too.